The Golden Shadow. The village was a sea of yellow, the scent of crushed marigolds and turmeric staining the air. Sija stood in the dim light of their home, her fingers trembling as she pleated the sun-bright silk of Kartiki's wedding sari. Tomorrow, her sister would be gone, a bridge crossed into a new life. Sija caught her own reflection, pale, determined, and wondered if the gold of the haldi could ever truly hide the cracks forming in their family's joy. Their mother, Mina, drifted into the room, her movements heavy with the weight of tradition. She didn't offer words of comfort. Instead, she pulled Kartiki into an embrace that felt like an anchor. Mina's eyes were distant, seeing perhaps her own wedding day in the curve of her daughter's shoulder. In that quiet room, the outside world, the drums, the laughter, the expectations, felt like a storm they were trying to hold at bay. The arrival of the groom's procession changed the air. Vikram, the groom-to-be, stepped into the courtyard not with humility, but with the sharp gaze of a collector. His eyes bypassed the flowers and the rituals, landing instead on the sleek, chrome-heavy bullet motorcycle parked near the gate, Manav's most prized possession. Manav stood nearby, his hands in his pockets, watching the newcomer with a growing, silent tension that Sija could feel from across the yard. The music died a sudden, jagged death when Vikram spoke. "A bride from such a house should bring a gift of equal stature," he announced, his voice slicing through the festive hum. He gestured again to the motorcycle. "The ceremony stops here. This machine must be mine, or the wedding does not proceed." Mina stepped forward, her hands clasped in a plea, her face losing its color as the crowd whispered in shocked, jagged fragments. Sija felt the world tilt. The greed in Vikram's eyes was a poison, threatening to dissolve the future Kartiki had dreamed of. She looked at Manav, seeing the conflict in his eyes. That bike was his freedom, his hard-earned pride. "I won't let him do this," Sija whispered to the empty air. She reached into the neck of her dress, her fingers finding the cold, familiar weight of the gold necklace her father had given her before he passed. Without a word to anyone, Sija slipped out the back gate. The dust of the village road felt like ash in her throat as she ran toward the market. She clutched the necklace so tightly the links bit into her palm. It was the only thing she had left of her father, a legacy of love she was about to trade for a stranger's greed. The weight of the sacrifice felt heavier than the gold itself. The jeweler, Ratnakar, sat behind a low wooden desk, his spectacles perched on the tip of his nose. He took the necklace from Sija's trembling hand, the gold catching the dim light of his shop. "A rare piece," Ratnakar muttered, his eyes calculating the desperation in Sija's face. He offered a price that was an insult to the memory it held. But Sija didn't haggle. She just needed the money to stop Vikram's demands. "The necklace stays with the family," a low, commanding voice rang out from the doorway. Manav stepped into the shop, his presence filling the cramped space. He didn't look at Sija's shock. Instead, he placed a heavy leather pouch of coins onto Ratnakar's desk. "I followed you since you left the gate, Sija. You should have known I wouldn't let you carry this burden alone." Manav took the necklace back from the jeweler and turned to Sija. The anger he had felt for Vikram was gone, replaced by a quiet, steady warmth as he looked at her. He didn't hand her the gold. Instead, he stepped behind her and fastened the clasp around her neck. "This belongs to you," he whispered. "Vikram will get nothing. I've handled the situation with the village elders. The greed ends today." Back at the house, the wedding resumed, but the air had changed. Vikram sat in the corner, silenced and shamed by the elders, while Kartiki laughed with her mother. Sija stood by the gate, the gold of her father's necklace gleaming in the twilight. Manav leaned against his motorcycle nearby. They didn't need words to acknowledge the shift between them. The shadow was gone, replaced by a bond forged in the heat of sacrifice.